Well, Drew, last time out, you fought the guy that nobody wanted to fight. Took the matchup, didn't necessarily work out for you. But what did you take from that?
It was great to feel kind of like the Dagestani wrestler system, and feeling one of the best in the world, and just understanding like what that's like. It was unfortunate that the fight was not as exciting as I wanted it to be. I mean, he kind of took me down and held me down significantly. But yeah, I felt it. I know what that's like. I know what to prepare for, and we've been working diligently at Team Elevation to kind of solve that problem for the next time.
That's awesome. Then you're a pretty quick turnaround. Was that important for you to get booked again quickly and get back in there?
Of course, this career has a shelf life, and so I need to get as many in as possible. Yeah, and I saw the opportunity of fighting a fantastic opponent in front of a crowd, and who wouldn't turn that up?
I was going to ask you the matchup itself. On paper, it looks like it should be a little bit more exciting than the last one, right? I mean, did the matchup itself excite you? The thought of how you guys paired together?
Yes. I've been following Brad because people over social media are mentioning his name of like, oh, you need to fight this guy, you need to fight this guy. And so I kept my eyes open and watched him, and he is fantastic. And so as soon as that matchup came across, like, yeah, a beautiful striking matchup in front of a crowd, I want this. So we made it happen.
Is it more fun to get ready for a fight like this? Because, you mentioned all the things you had to go through for the last one. I mean, preparing for that Dagestani wrestling system, I'm sure those aren't the most fun practices every day. I'm sure you wrestled a little bit getting ready for this, but is this a lot more fun to get ready for?
Yeah, I think mentally it's simple in my mind, right? I've had many Muay Thai fights, and he's had a ton as well, and so we kind of both know what we're coming in with, and it was simple, but we're going to be our best selves in that cage, and we're here to entertain the fans.
Yeah, on paper it looks like a fight of the night, right? I mean, is that the way you're looking at this thing too? Like it looks like potential fight of the night type of matchup?
I mean, I trained for fight of the night, but I expect a performance of the night, so.
Nice. Last thing for me, what do you feel like? I mean, obviously you want to walk away with a win, but I mean, do you feel like you need to make a statement? Because you had a lot of momentum going into the last one, right? And it kind of got halted. So do you feel like you need to come out and prove something or make some kind of statement with the performance?
Yeah, I need to go out there and showcase what I've always been doing, which is string some knockouts together. I need to get a win streak together, and so after this win, we got to get a couple more wins, and so it's just more and more and more. I don't really need to showcase all my abilities in one night. I just got to have more nights.
Drew, not to throw my colleague under the bus, but are fans, when they say, oh, fight of the night, like contender, is that an insult? Because usually fight of the nights are close, and I'm sure fighters want to have a one-sided victory.
I mean, I would love to have close fights. Like, you ever watch like the Rocky films, right? And man, if the Rocky films ended with like a fantastic, like a first-round knockout, you'd be bored, right? But fight of the nights are super entertaining, and I want to have a career of fantastic fights. And so, yes, as soon as you can put up a guy in front of me and we can have fight of the night, that'd be great. If the guy is, come in a little short, I have a performance of the night.
And then you mentioned that he has like an extensive Muay Thai background. Obviously, he's trained at Tiger Muay Thai. You yourself come from a striking background. How would you compare your style of striking to his?
I think I'm a little ahead of him in the transition of mixed martial arts. The sports are slightly different. And so I had to make that transition of how people strike in MMA, and I feel like he possibly might still try to strike like they do in Muay Thai or in kickboxing. So, my goal is to showcase more of a mixed martial arts than just coming in and trying to Muay Thai each other in 4-ounce gloves.
And then before your last fight, you were kind of joking that your inbox kind of blew up on the DMs with all of Islam's fans. Probably not the case this time with Brad. I know his team has a big following, but not specifically the Australian, New Zealand crowd.
I mean, the Russians are still after it, right? Like, I get tagged in Islam stuff all the time. So, yeah, I'm tired of seeing his face. But, yeah, I think more people are just excited, whether you want to see me win or lose. People are just very excited for this fight. And so I've been getting a lot of positivity and optimism. Yeah, you got a loud voice. There we go. I mean, it depends. I feel like I'm calloused to that idea. I really enjoy getting hit in the face. Preferably hitting him more than I'm getting hit. But I got into the sport knowing that we're also entertainers, and I'm here for entertainment. I'm here to put on performances, and I mean, the fans are the reason I'm getting paid to do this, and so I need to showcase a great performance for the fans.
That added later be in front of a live crowd that's going to be
Oh yeah, I mean, through 2020, I was trying to admit like, oh, I didn't hear the crowd, I didn't really notice, but man, the crowds hit different, and so God, being in front of them again, I'm so excited.
And what do you do in between fights to kind of like recalibrate after being, because you be in a lot of physical wars. So what do you do to keep fresh and be able to come back better each time we see you?
Hiring people and telling me how to best treat my body. You know, I know how to mistreat the body, and then everyone else tells me like, all right, you need to eat right, you need to do some stretches, you need to warm up, you need to do this, you need to do that. So I'm talking to professionals and the right people to make sure that I can continue doing the sport as long as possible.
And this is off the grid. Who's somebody that you want to see before you end your career, just from a style-wise, like, we're going to put a hell of a show on, regardless if it's a year from now or before you hang them up for good? Who's somebody that you think you have to see?
Paul Felder hung it up, and so that would have been a fun one. But Dustin Poirier is incredible. I would love to exchange with him. Conor McGregor. I'm saying, like, if they're looking for a backup, depending on how Saturday night goes, I would love to be a backup for that fight. But the reason I'm trying to get the win streak going and put the performances together, because these are the type of guys that I want to exchange with and put on shows for you guys.
What about Gaethje?
Oh God, but we do it every Tuesday and Friday night.
So no teammate combat.
So who knows? We might have like a video and Team Elevation to show you guys how that goes down.
What do you make of Michael Chandler targeting Gaethje right now for a possible next fight for both your teammate and him?
I think it'd be a difficult fight for Michael Chandler. I definitely know what Justin Gaethje's capable of, and judging by his last performance against Charles Oliveira, Gaethje hits a lot harder.
What do you make of Charles as a champion? I think like a lot of people, like they viewed his early career, he had like almost a 500 record in the UFC, and then he strings all these wins together and is now champion. Kind of he himself's like new era in this division, everything. So what do you make of Charles as your division's new champion?
You're only as good as your last fight, and so who cares how many losses you had, how often you've struggled. We don't need seamless and perfect records to become world champions, and so we need to just learn from our failures and grow. And I mean, that's why I love you guys. Like, I'll get a win Saturday night, and who cares if I've ever fought Islam, right? Like, it doesn't matter what you've done, it's just what you've done recently. And Charles Oliveira showcased that it doesn't matter, what kind of struggles you went through, everyone has a chance to be world champion. Oh, you guys made it easy. Oh, man.
Right, I know it's been an interesting couple of months for you with the way things played out. I guess, can you take us back to March and just tell us what that whole experience was like for you?
That sucked. That experience sucked. Wasn't really much we could do about it. I guess that happens to somebody every week, and the current state of the world. And unfortunately, that happened to me. I think it just sucked a little bit more because of the travel and stuff that we had from New Zealand in the quarantine. So, I could have stayed and fought a couple of weeks later and fought Gregor, but it was more the issue of I just had my daughter and I didn't want to. It's hard to get the vouchers to get home, right? So it would have extended not just 2 weeks, but it would have been 8. So I wasn't that keen for that.
Talk about how that impacted this one. I mean, like you said, you could have stayed, but you went back. I mean, did it make training difficult or better because you were in fight shape?
Oh yeah, it made it like the transition a little smoother. Like I just sort of chilled out in quarantine a little bit and then rolled back into it. And preparing for a striker is good for me because that's something I've been doing my whole life. So it's a little bit easier to transition into that camp versus going against someone collegiate wrestler like Gregor. So that's cool. I think it's worked in my favor.
Yeah. Did you watch Gregor's fight at all, or did it matter?
Yeah, I watched it. It was mean. Props to him. That was a pretty awesome fight. I love watching that. I was stoked that he got the win after his comeback. So, yeah, all goes well with Drew. I'm definitely going to start chasing him down again.
Nice. You kind of touched on it, this matchup. I got to imagine, is this more fun to prepare for than getting ready for a Gregor would be?
Yeah, so I only watched Drew a few weeks back, and so I didn't know much about him till then. I obviously saw the Islam one, but that was what it was. Like, Islam grabs you, and that's sort of all she wrote. But I watched Drew, and I was like, man, this guy likes to come forward and fight and strike, and I was like, it's going to be pretty fun. So I got pretty excited, a couple of weeks ago. If I watch it at the start of the camp, I get excited a little bit too early.
Nice. On paper, it looks like the kind of fight that could be like a fight of the night type clash between you two guys, very entertaining. Do you look at a fight like that, or do you have to think, no, I'm going to go in and dominate this guy?
Yeah, definitely going to go dominate. yeah, I'm sure a lot of people think and would like it to be like that, like a very even striking match, and come out with some headaches. But my intention is not to have that. I like him. He's a nice guy, but I intend on murking him.
Nice. Last thing for me, where do you go from here? I mean, this would be a big win over a guy that had been on a bit of a run. So, what do you do? I mean, are you trying to make up for lost time for losing that March fight, or do you just what's the plan?
Yeah, man. So I'll definitely try to grab a couple more before the end of the year. I'd like to fight 2 more times. My plan is this month, September, December, and then we'll approach next year as it comes. But I'd like to be active. This is like the longest layoff that I've had, I think, in my career.
Brad, right here. I asked Drew this when he was out here, and I asked if when fans say possible fight of the night, if that's an insult, because that would mean the fight is close. He said he wants fight of the night because if Rocky was a first-round knockout, no one would care. But in your mind, is a fight of the night an insult when they say it'll be, when fans say that?
Nah, not really. You're in this business to get tested and fight like the best people, and if 2 really high-level people go at each other, and it does end up the fight of the night, it's kind of like a compliment, I think. I don't think it's an insult at all. Yeah.
And then I asked him to compare his striking to yours. He said maybe he's much more cleaner in mixing his striking to MMA. You might be more of a traditional like Muay Thai kickboxing, but he was very complimentary of your skills. He just thinks he mixes it better with all of MMA. So how would you compare your striking to his?
I think mine's a little better. Like, I definitely don't agree with what he said, just because I've kind of proved that in my last few fights. I've come across high-level wrestlers, but those guys have all been pretty good strikers as well. So, and I'm still winning. But yeah, man, I think my striking is better all around, and I'm not too worried about his wrestling or his all-round MMA game. But yeah, I'm definitely not taking him lightly.
And then since your last fight, Khabib was still the champion. Michael Chandler hadn't even made his UFC debut yet. Now Charles Oliveira is the champion. Michael Chandler's had 2 fights. So what do you make of the state of the top of this division right now?
Yeah, man, there's, after this fight, there's, 14 killers in front of me, and there's probably still 14 behind me. The division is deep. Like, whatever way you look at it, up or down, it's going to be a hard road to the top. And but the good thing is, like, you get to the top and you're legitimately the best in the world. At the moment, I think the UFC has the strongest lightweight division, hands down. So that's just appealing. Like, you get that belt and you can own it. You claim you're the best in the world.
So do you think that makes Charles the best in the world? I think a lot of fans still point to Dustin as being the best lightweight right now because he passed up the title fight to get the trilogy with Conor.
Well, that's his problem. He shouldn't have passed it up. Now he can't say that he's the best in the world. He can say he's best in the world when he goes and fights Charles and beats him. So right now Charles is best in the world, and he deserves that belt.
Then finally, how'd you start working with Blizzard? I saw that on your Instagram. Don't you have like a deal with Blizzard?
Oh yeah, man. My manager, he did that all for me. So I like gaming, and yeah, that sort of just expanded from Call of Duty into that. And yeah, man, that's what I do on my downtime, I guess, or when I don't have to look after the family, I get a little bit of extra time I game.
So are you a Diablo or a Warcraft fan?
Warcraft, bro.
There you go.
Yeah. I've tried Diablo, but that wasn't my gig.
Brad, right here. Jim Greasehober, MMA Weekly. The mentality at your gym, I mean, just being champions, just walking in there every day, the mindset that the guys at the top have, just being a part of that and being one of the elite gyms in the sport and having champions in there every day, how much does that help you with your mindset as you push toward that level?
Yeah, like it's awesome to see, and it's very inspiring. I think the biggest thing is that we're a tiny country, and seeing like Israel become who he has become, that stuff kind of seems like a fairy tale to a lot of people in New Zealand or smaller places. So to like witness it from the start to the end is it's awesome, and yeah, what can I say, man?
And then lastly for me, how much did you get to train with Alex Volkanovski in this camp? Has he been there through the whole, not the whole camp, but how much of your camp was he there for? And will it affect you, not affect you, that you weren't able to train with him as much?
Oh, none of it, man. He was doing tough. So,
yeah.
yeah, I didn't see him at all. I saw him the week that we both lost our fights, and then we haven't really talked too much since then. I gave him a couple of calls, but yeah, it shouldn't affect me. I should be all right. He would have been a good training partner for Drew. You know, he's probably a little bit too short, but whatever. Same sort of style.
Brad, back here. You know, despite the exciting nature of this matchup, was there any thought whatsoever to try and replicate Islam's game plan?
Nah. You know, obviously Islam, I can't really say he like exposed a hole in Drew's game, because everybody knows that Islam's like, you know, like another version of Khabib in a way. So I think he could probably grab and hold most of the division down quite successfully. So yeah, I don't think I'm going to replicate that. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Might approach it a little bit different way with my hands. So yeah, you guys will see soon.
Is it more motivating for you to be on a big card like this?
Yeah, it's cool, man. It's always better to fight with your friends. You know, like go away in a group. Fighting's like a very individual sport, and we're fortunate enough to get to, you know, generally fight with our friends on the card, so we get to bring a bigger group. And yeah, man, more banter, more fun. The days go by quicker, the faster I get to eat. So yeah, usually that's just on your mind when you're by yourself, is like weigh in day, and you're trying to chew through each day. But they go a lot quicker when your mates are hanging around.
And ideally, how quickly would you like to climb up the lightweight ladder? Do you think about that, or do you try and stay present in the moment?
Yeah, like relatively fast, but I don't want to rush it. You know, I'm not, you know, I'm on the better side of 30 at the moment, so I'm going to be patient and get my way up there, but not this slow. Not like 8 months ago I fought slow. That's, I'm not too keen on doing that again.
All right, thanks, Brad. Good luck.
Hey, Brad. Do you think a win over Drew will get you a top 15 spot? There was recently some movement in that division after it being kind of still for a while, and you know, Sarukian got in there, and Moises got in there, and you know,
Yep.
Drew was ranked 15. Do you think a win over him Saturday gets you in there?
Well, is he ranked at the moment?
Not at the moment.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess theoretically it probably wouldn't then, I guess. Like, you know, if it operated the way that it should in the world, I'd take his spot. If I do end up ranked, awesome. You know, I'd be stoked about that. But right now, my focus is just beating Drew. And, like, he's worthy of being ranked. So if I beat him, man.
Awesome. Thank you.